should have started with my countdown. All right.
You do the
We'll mute
countdown.
us.
You gotta unmute us. Yeah.
Hi, welcome back to High Consciousness Podcast. Hello, I was like, what's happening? Well, that's a great start. Hi to our listeners. Thank you for coming through, listening, and staying with us. I know we've been gone for a little while. There's a lot of the good, exciting things happening outside of here in our lives, and we decided to take a pause. We also decided to give our special guests this time around that time. Some of them were in school. Some people were on vacation. Some birthdays happened. We'll shout them out in a few. But I just want to thank every guest that has shown up and has been able to actually make it through this time around. We wanted to continue the conversation around relationships, partnership. We had our men panel, our women panel, our lesbian and heterosexual views. And, I feel like as though that was a perfect example of what going here on a panel can do for our community. And just, have those uncomfortable conversations. But now we're going to dive deeper. This is definitely going to be a longer episode. It may be at some point split as well if it gets, overloaded. We've gotten the feedback that that's just a lot better. And we are continuing. T, welcome. Anything you want to say to our guests and to the people that are listening?
Again, welcome back. Thank you guys for sharing your time with us. Your opinions are valid and welcomed, and we're gonna have a very good show today and just have fun. It's a great day, great weather. There's no reason to stress about life. Don't worry about it. It'll pass.
Yes, it will. It definitely will. And summer's here. At least we're in Jersey, so it's getting hot. Thought out. You know what I'm talking about? Is what we're gonna talk about today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, so we're just gonna get started. What did I have on the agenda? The recap. Let's talk about the recap. So on the recap, the last few episodes we've come this far from a poll. Now, this is just a segue in series in terms of High Consciousness Podcast. Typically, our podcast is mainly about educational purposes, conspiracy theories, anything that we have researched and we want to educate our whoever wants to listen on. Call to action. We made it happen. So essentially, we had the courage to empower you, the one that came on, our guest, to be able to talk about these conversations and hear more about your perspectives, and that's what we're here for. And then two, just we're now diving deeper. So yeah, so let's get to it. I do want to shout out T Money. His birthday was last weekend. Shout out to Hassan. His birthday was this month as well. So I hope y'all enjoyed y'all time. And yeah, T, hit us with a quote.
Definitely did. All right. We got a quote from this lovely book that we referenced before, The Alchemist, written by Paulo Coelho. Okay.
I love that book. Wow, you actually said his last name correctly. I've never been able to say his last name. You know how that go? That Spanish in me, you know what I'm saying?
He's Spanish. I'm gonna let her fly.
I know, that's the crazy part. I've always been afraid to say it wrong. I have the same issue at work. I won't yell somebody's name because I'm just like...
I just have that confidence from the chest.
Word.
Right? Okay, but the quote is, "It is we who nourish the soul of the world, and the world we live in will be either better or worse, depending on whether we become better or worse. And that's where the power of love comes in. Because when we love, we always strive to become better than we were."
Damn, that was deep. That's like a great way to start this because it's true. Everything's powered by love, no matter how you see it. So, what do you think about that quote? How does it sit with you?
Honestly, it's about taking accountability about your position,
Mm-hmm.
where you are.
For sure.
You know, everybody has, wherever they are in life, you play an important part, an important role, whether it's your family, your job, your friends. It's unfortunate that people would, you know, really keep to themselves and want to, YouTube purposes, self-delete themselves and think that it's not going to affect anything around them. You know, just something of that scheme.
Yeah, no, that's facts. Accountability is a very big part, especially in relationships. Like, if you don't have that and you're not trying to be better, it's very hard to continue that partnership, which is what it is. It's a partnership. So, to say least, I'm going to go ahead and get our guest up on the panel. So, we're going to start off with just adding y'all. Please, we are going to go from top, middle row, and then bottom to introduce yourselves. Gotta say much. Just name. Fun fact.
Fun fact. Who wants to start? Hassan, that means you. Come on.
Or anything that you feel as though, you want to add to today's episode.
It doesn't matter,
which is
bro. You came back. You could be like,
right,
hey,
you did.
I'm back. You know what I'm saying? I got a cat on my lap. I'm here for it.
Yeah, my name's Hassan. I have a cat that won't leave me alone. He's 2 years old, so that's that.
Baby.
All right. So then, Ariel, what's up, man? Welcome back.
Yo, word. Welcome back. Oh, we can't hear
muted.
you.
Hold on. Got you.
Oh, yeah. Unmute.
All right, cool. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you.
My name's Ariel. Fun fact, I recently just, in the subject of cats, I recently just started getting into cats. I was not a big cat person at first, and then I don't know what the vibe is with cats, but I was just watching videos and I was like, yo, these little wild creatures are so interesting.
They
So,
are.
I guess that's a new fun fact for me.
That's definitely a fun fact. I didn't
Hassan
know.
knows the vibe.
He definitely he
knows
been
the vibe.
he been on the vibe for 2 years. He's been a dad for 2 years. So he got some tips for you whenever you get there.
All right. Whammon.
Hello. I'm Diamond. Fun fact: my last name used to be Stone. It is now Hodge. But yeah,
Woo,
that's my
woo.
fun fact.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Angelica. It's probably a little windy right now. A fun fact, if
not
you
too
don't
bad.
know, I'm actually a boy mom. So I have a son. He'll be 2 actually in August.
Yeah, that Leo power. Yeah. Not that I care or anything, but this is a lot about us.
Gav, welcome back. What up, bro?
What up, man? How is everything?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. Just working like everybody else. But I'm Gavin, but everybody calls me Gav. And fun fact, a lot of people don't know that I'm left-handed for some reason. So I know that's not a big thing, but
What the
Wow,
fuck?
we've been
Oh, sorry.
friends this long, and I did not know that.
Come on,
Yeah.
Hassan.
Damn, I need
so
to
if
do
you
better.
ever take a repair after me and my screws are all weird, that's
It's
probably
because you
why.
left-handed.
'Cause I'm left-handed.
Okay.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, I can't even give him feedback no more. It's over.
Right, that's it. Like, damn, my man, it ain't even on him. It's in him.
Not his fault. Just born this way. Got you.
Jambi, welcome back. Great seeing you.
Hey.
Hello. So we
Oh,
just
shoot.
fun
Go ahead.
fact.
So my fun fact is I love dogs and cats and all kinds of animals. I'm a big animal lover. Yeah, that's my fun fact.
You'd get along with Diamond. She has reptilians and
You got any
iguana.
animals? I was about to say.
I have a dog. He just turned 6 in March.
What kind of dog?
He is a mix of lab and Pomeranian. So like he is a little tiny than a lab, but he looks like a lab, but he also has like a body of a Pomeranian.
That's so cute.
Hmm.
Well, my Zoe just turned 7, so I understand that like
Oh,
age. Yeah, I'm like I don't want you to keep getting old. Please.
I just want them to stay like a baby. Just stay a baby.
I
That's all.
know, literally. All right. Well, thank all of you for sharing and definitely had some laughs there. Fun facts I didn't even know, so that was exciting. Only a few. Okay, so let's dive right in. So first, let's get this out the way. Who here agrees that dating and relationships are different, or if you agree that they're the same? Explain why. Now, I don't really want to have it all organized to whoever goes. I don't care. Just answer the question. I would love for everybody.
Yes,
to
ma'am.
answer the question.
Okay, hold on. we can start. Let's start with the ladies first,
Okay, perfect.
right? In the same little order, and then we'll get the guys in that order.
Okay, so then it would be me, Diamond, Angelica, Johnny.
Mhm.
Then
Sounds
you.
What a
Hassan. Okay.
gentleman.
Look at that. That's perfect. I love that. You see what brainstorming does. So for me, I don't agree that relationships and dating are the same thing. To me, dating is more of that stage of getting to know you, really looking into to see if you will be my girl. Now with me and dating, like now that I'm more like I'm older and a lot more wiser, I see it more as if you're talking to people, cool. Like if I'm talking to people, cool. If eventually me and you want to be something, then that's a conversation that has to happen. And then from there on, if that's something that I decide and we both decide, then we can go into the relationship aspect of it. Now, I do believe relationships can be seen differently as a word, but this is more of a romantic aspect of it. So that's just how I view it.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your input. I'm kind of on the same vibe. Like, I think they're definition wise different for a reason. I think, yes, dating is more of that, like, getting to know somebody type of space. Literally 9 times out of 10, you have to put a title on it for it to be a relationship, although a lot of people live in denial and just think that they're in a relationship when they're not. But usually it has to be a spoken thing. So I think until it's spoken about, it's considered dating. And when it's done being spoken about, we have an agreement, then it's a relationship.
I agree to that.
I could agree with that. I think I'm the same way in the sense of like dating and relationships. I think dating is like you're trying to fill out if this is the person you kind of want to spend the rest of your time with. So it kind of plays into the factor of like, I got to date you to see like your vibe, to see where your mindset is. Because one, I'm not getting any younger, so I don't want to waste time with someone that's not worth it. And in a relationship, it's like, it's all or nothing sometimes. Like you want to put that effort into that one person that's worth it. So yeah, it's definitely different for me.
That whole wasting time is a gem.
yeah. I think dating for me is trying to get to know the person, and then relationship is when you're actually like into it, giving all into it.
Yes. All right, men. Y'all turn. It's
All right.
okay to disagree here, okay? In anything, in any topic that we speak about today, it's okay to disagree.
Excuse me. Pardon me. Oh man, I agree with Javi on that one. Like, dating definitely is more about getting to know the person, people in general, figuring out what do you like personally, what's your boundaries, and the list goes on and on. You tend to figure out, okay, I kind of like these traits in this person or a person I can see myself with. And when you start to get to know a person, even just as a friend, you tend to see traits in them that you wouldn't even want to be around. And I do think that's good. You can get that from dating, but relationships are completely a different story. Like you're you have some type of value you're exchanging with each other. You know, you're committed to this person. You damn near emotional ties to this person, man or woman, like it doesn't matter. So there's a different degree to that. You're not getting into relationships with everybody you meet. You know, it's one of those things. But you can definitely.
It's very true.
Get all the traits and everything and all your red flags and just see it just by dating.
Word. The red flags is definitely something to look out for.
Is this a question of like what my personal like my thing is, or how it actually is?
Yeah, bro. Well, how do you see it?
How do you see it?
The
How do
way
you
I see
perceive
it is the
it?
way like everybody here, like, you know, one's a testing phase, the other one's a hey, we're gonna make this work phase.
Do you
How it
think that
is?
it's different how it is?
Yes.
Okay,
A
go
lot
ahead.
of people these days be taking it like, oh, I'm in the relationship. Oh, I'm still testing the waters here because they be having like a roster on the side, or they keep something on the side to like be a fallback option. That's the reality of it.
That is true,
That's
especially
it.
especially in women. Well, I say that in women that in terms of what they experience, like they experience that, and even men is too. Like I'm not taking that away, but I feel like it's also mainly seen in like that guy that's not sure of whether or not. Even in my own community too. Like I even at some point was like that. Like I was just like, yeah, like I don't know, like you know what I'm saying? Like yeah, I'm in it, but I don't even know if I've dated people, and I've dated people, then I got in a relationship, and I'm like, why did I do that? Like why did I do that? So sorry, Ariel, your turn.
So yeah, I agree with everyone here. I feel like it's two separate things. And even me, I'm guilty of it in the beginning of like my relationship. It was like I wasn't very how do I say this? I wasn't very clear and concise, and I feel like women want that assurance of like, hey, are you gonna be with me or without me? Or because it's very easy to just like, because we all have relationships with people, not in that way, but we all have relationships that we build with people we trust, we become friends, and maybe friends become something else. So I think it's very important to have that boundary of like, okay, are we just friends or are we gonna move on with life together? So definitely two separate things. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, the boundary is important for sure. Gav, got a Jets fan here, by the way, guys. Just letting you know. Oh, we can't hear you.
Do I unmute myself when I go to speak, or are you gonna do it?
Yeah, no, you can unmute yourself. So
Okay.
anybody, you can unmute yourself. If it becomes an issue, I'll unmute you.
All right, got you. I mean, I don't really disagree with anything anyone said. I agree. I just think maybe I guess I would add that during the dating phase is kind of where you want to establish, you know, like what you're looking for. Are you going to be talking to other people? That sort of stuff. So once you're in a relationship, you know, especially if you're in a monogamous one, by that point you should already kind of have that figured out. So, but I agree with everybody else.
But that's what I was saying about the boundary thing. Like that could be perfectly fine with a dude comes up to you and says, hey, like, I really fuck with you. Pardon me. You know, I'm down with you. I bang with you, whatever. But I'm gonna be with other chicks. I love you. I'll be back to you. I'll come home to you. But every once in a while, I'll step out. You can't get upset at that dude. He's not cheating on you. He told you what he's gonna do.
Ooh.
The difference is, there's not a lot of people that's willing to even say that.
Yeah.
Do that. So it's cheating.
Or even stick by it too, because.
Yep.
Any other thoughts of anybody want to piggyback what anybody said here?
I think on the topic of what he just said, like people that say it from the beginning, and somehow like it goes completely unheard, and then when they do the action, they're like, "Oh, I didn't see this coming." Like
Yeah.
a lot of people will tell you from the very like beginning how they're going to be in a relationship or a scenario, whatever it may be. But some people just I guess they see like potential, and they get lost in that. Like,
Yeah.
No, they're
I
just
think-
selfish. They're just selfish.
I-
They heard what you said and they just said, okay, well, this is what I want, and then they just hope that you're gonna conform
that you're
to it,
gonna
or you're gonna,
yeah.
especially women. We're like, oh my god, like he's gonna fall for me. I'm just gonna do these things so much different than 1, 2, and 3. He's just gonna like need me. It doesn't work that way. He told you who he was. You didn't want to listen.
Mm-hmm. And we can see it all the time in some certain celebrities too. Like, I don't know how many times do we have to bring a Future or Nick Cannon or an NBA YoungBoy or anybody like that that has 6, 7, 8 baby mamas, and then you think you're gonna be the next one to be like, he got me, lock him down.
But I feel like I experienced that in a way of, and I've experienced it a lot now. The only other person that can back me up is Angelica, whatever perspective you own. But to me, is more of falling for potential in women, and at the same time, also because there can come a wave of attention. I used to not have discernment to the point of like, there's a difference between being eligible and being available. Like, there's a difference, you know. I feel like with eligible, like, you have to know what you want to a certain extent to know what is it that you're gonna receive, and like what you attract is also not what you receive. So I feel like sometimes people get so caught up into like, yeah, I want to talk this, that, and the third. Like, yeah, maybe I like him so much, or I like her so much that I'm gonna change them, or I'm gonna be the reason why. And it's like, no, like in reality, you're just, like Hassan said, falling into potential. So, you know, it's a whole different
Yeah, that was good,
spectrum of it. But either way, thank you for sharing. And, you know, I just wanted to share those thoughts because I say all of that to say communicating effectively and listening, and then creating that choice is all really your, like, the accountability aspect to that. So I don't know who's unmuted. I think it's, oh, I heard, I think it was just the music. I heard a dog. I was like, what? So all right, so we're gonna move to sharing a clip. This is gonna be Jordan Peterson, and I'll share the question after I share the clip. Just give me 1 second, please.
Gotcha.
Oh hell no! It's telling me I can't share without recording live. Hold on.
While recording live?
Yeah, hold on. I think it worked.
Is it a file?
Can you guys see it? Well, oh, sorry. I'm not like, hold on.
You need to change the thing to screen layout or picture to picture.
Window. Brave tap. Hold on. Can you see?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
So
Gotcha.
it's gonna be a 5-minute clip, and then we're gonna share thoughts after.
Strange. So, what advice can you give to people who are looking to have a strong
Even decline
relationship with someone?
What happened?
No, go ahead.
Well, the first thing is to decide if that is really what you want.
Is that
You know,
fair?
and-
Do you think, to say I want to be single forever? Do you think that's realistic or fair assessment of oneself?
I think that that's, for most people, a pathway to insanity.
Yeah.
You know, the psychoanalysts used to think that, and we all think this way in some ways, that you're sane because you're well put together. In your psyche is well structured, right? It's internal, somehow inside your head. But, and there's some truth in that, but here's a more accurate viewpoint, I think. You outsource most of your sanity because it's too complicated. And so what you do is your parents raise you to be vaguely acceptable to other people. And then you're surrounded by other people your whole life. And then every time you go off the rails a little bit, even just a little bit, people signal to you. Like you make a joke, it's not that funny and people don't laugh. And you think, oh, well, you know, I should probably rethink my sense of humor a little bit or pay more attention. Or you tell a rambling story and you notice that everyone's like lost in the distance. And so if you're civilized enough so that people don't shun you and you have people around you, then they're going to be always telling you how to not be too insane. Well, if you're alone, you drift. You drift, you know, and you'll drift in the direction of your biggest weakness. And so, you know, there are some people, maybe they're introverted and disagreeable. They're not cut out for a lot of social contact, but we're social animals, man, right to the core. And it's a suboptimal solution for the vast majority of people. I think that people are having a harder time finding, like, let's call them more permanent relationships, is because it's become increasingly easy to have fleeting, casual sexual relationships. I mean, Tinder is a revolution, right? It's a revolution in sexual behavior, and it's certainly not obvious that it's
Is it a social thing? Is it just technology? Is this what people want to be doing? Because you think the
it's
fleeting,
easier, in some ways,
but the technology has enabled this fleeting sexual activity.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. And that's, but we don't want to underestimate how radical a technology that is. That's especially for men.
I do feel that deep down that all these people, men and women alike, are always longing for something more meaningful.
Well, I think that that's generally the case. I mean, you know, part of the reason for a relationship is sexual contact, obviously. Well, that's that you don't necessarily need a relationship for that, but that's not the reason to be with someone. The reason to be with someone, when there's a lot of them. So one is, well, kids who have two parents do far better, period. The data on that is crystal clear. It doesn't mean that there aren't many single parents who struggle to do a wonderful job. Right? That's not the same thing. It's an average issue. So you need, plus, it's a lot of work to have kids. You know, you kind of need to divide up the labor, especially in the first year or two, you know, because the woman is completely overwhelmed in the first year and she needs somebody around to take care of her while she's taking care of the kid, fundamentally, or at least that's the way it looks to me. So there's that. You need the stable basis for children, and it takes them a long time to mature, and they need to learn that relationships are trustworthy, right? So there's utility and stability there. But then also, you kind of want to tangle your life together with someone, you know, because you have someone well, it's like two ropes that are tangled together. It's stronger, especially during times of weakness. And you have two brains instead of one. And that actually turns out to be really helpful when things are complicated. And it builds a solidity into your life and a reality into your life to have someone who's along with you on this very long voyage. And so I think that deepens your life in a way that isn't really possible with fragmentary relationships as a single person.
Definitely.
And then there's more to it than that. It's like, I think of wrestling. There's this scene in the Old Testament where Jacob wrestles with an angel. He's wrestling with God, actually, which is quite an interesting, that's what Israel means, right? Wrestling with God. Yeah, that just blew me away when I learned it. It's so
Is that true?
The true people of
Hebrew?
Israel are those who wrestle with God.
Wrestle
Yeah,
with
it's
God.
not believe exactly. It's a whole different thing, man. It's a whole different thing. And
Isn't
so,
it like fear from God? What it means? That's what I thought.
Okay. Go back. All right.
Gotcha.
If you don't mind adding the question. So, again, this is more of what your thoughts are. I don't want to circle around and pick somebody or leave it up to you guys to tell me what you guys think about that. And the question is it is it important to gain dating skills rather than getting in a relationship? And then the second one would be well,
Oh. Well, I guess we will not know what the second one was.
We're not gonna know what the second one is.
I didn't hear the first one. I was gonna ask her to repeat it.
There's a little tab on the bottom. That's where I got mine from.
Linda, I got you. Stop it. Stop. I got
She's
you.
trying to host.
Yo, can you put the question up? It's not there. It's the second part of what are your thoughts? It's about the Jordan Peterson one.
What second question? You know you read like 3 questions in one question, right?
Yes. So so then it would be this, I guess. Do you think it has become harder to have meaningful relationships? Has it always been hard?
How am I supposed to know that's the second question?
It's okay. I sent you the script, literally.
That's-
The script
Don't-
is how
You
it
didn't
goes.
study.
Don't do this.
You didn't study right. You looked over and then you're like, okay.
All right.
First of all, this is the third question, so don't start doing math on me. Talking about this is the second question.
All right, so what do you have as the first? Because I can't move right now. I can't swipe because then I'm gonna swipe myself out.
The host.
Remember when you said so? Remember, okay, we're doing this live. Remember when you said so? First, guys, let's get this out the way. Who here agrees that dating and relationships are the? That's the first question.
Yeah. So what's the second? I can't see.
Is it important to gain relationships?
That's
Or
what it was. I skipped something. Sorry, guys. Hello. Well, listen, we can answer that first, and then we can go back to the thoughts of
Let's answer the Jordan Peterson one first because it's fresh.
It's fresh. Yeah, I don't want nobody to like forget what he just
For
said.
clarity, what question is that one?
That one would be, do you think it has become hard to, the one that's up right now, become hard to meaningful relationships, and has always been hard? 2, just what are your thoughts on what he stated? Like, he said a lot. He stated also
It was a
on,
lot.
being single. Like, I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's healthy at all. And there's women out here that really think that way, so.
I guess I'll go.
Anybody.
I don't.
Angie, you could go next.
My bad, girl. My bad.
No, go ahead. She raised her hand. See, she has
She was in class. She
etiquette.
had the etiquette.
She has
Yeah.
etiquette on whether
I'm over here like, hello. I feel like it is harder to build quote unquote meaningful. And I always say this because I feel like not enough people are transparent enough with each other. I call it a gift at this point. I have the gift of transparency. I am very transparent to the point where I might hurt your feelings. I'm so transparent. But I feel like we're lacking a lot of that nowadays. People like to sugarcoat, step all over things. So unfortunately, we make friendships and relationships that we think are meaningful due to trying to make the other person comfortable. But in hindsight, it's not what you thought it was. I think that happens more of the time than not. And I also think that in that same breath, everybody wants to just like get along with everybody, and just not everybody's for everybody. I think we would have more meaningful relationships if somebody just got to a point where they were like, this was cool, not really feeling it, see you later. That way you can weed out. But has it always been hard? No. I feel like with the rise of technology and social media, it's been really hard. We don't want to like say hi to each other on the street anymore. We barely know our neighbors. So yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely guilty as to not wanting to get to know my neighbors. I mean, I don't care for it, but seeing you guys just be more vocal to the people around us does help me. That's something I'm currently struggling with. Like, I think that I go into work and I'm constantly talking to people, and then at some point I just get tired of it, and I'm like, I really, like, once I clock out, I really don't want to talk for like another 2 days, and then we can do this again. But as long as it's my job, it's more like I get paid for it, so it's a little bit more easier for me. But I to be transparent, I've clocked out of society for a second, and this is why I also have the panel to put me back in a place of being open to everyone. Like, this is not only just for like fun for me, like this is also a challenge within itself. So I need it as well. So that's why I put myself out there. But I do believe that it has become harder, and just like as he stated, is mainly because everything's so sexual nowadays. Like, people are just so quick to run to sex. But Angie, go ahead and you can share your thoughts.
I was about to say, I like how you cut her off. It's cool though.
No, it's fine. It's
No,
fine.
she ain't cut. I cut myself off, all right?
Honestly, with this question, it's kind of like it's confusing a little bit. You got to think about it, because if you're talking about meaningful relationship, what kind of meaningful relationship? You know what I mean? Are you talking about a relationship that I'm going to be with this person for 5 years, 10 years, or are you talking about I'll be with this person for right now? Because sometimes we get in a relationship and it's just for the season. You know, people are seasons, and sometimes that season ends and we got to learn how to let go. And we don't. We hold on because at that moment they feel like home, but our home has left. So that's something that we got to remember, because we look at older generations like our grandparents that have been married 50 something years, and we want something like that. But we have to remember technology. It goes into, again, technology plays a big factor in it, because back then they didn't have technology. You had to be face to face. You had to sit down and have those deep conversations and those horrible conversations, you know what I mean? And they walk out the room, but they're still there. Nowadays, people walk out the room and they're already on their phone, making a Tinder account, making the Bumble account. You know what I mean? And it's like you're sitting there wondering, are you guys going to fix it or work things out? Or, you know what I mean? Like, I'm fighting society. That's where we, as generations changes, is like technology overpowers a lot of relationships because it's easy access.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? People got OnlyFans and you paying that subscription because your girl's shaking that, you know, and it's like you want your partner to do all those things. Back in the day, that's how you looked at your partner. That person walked in the room and you just like, your breath would be breathless. You know what I mean? Like you got butterflies in your stomach and stuff. And it's like, where did those little romantic things stop? When did it stop?
Yeah.
You know? So that's where this whole meaningful relationship, like what you got to think about, like, what are we talking about? What type of meaningful relationships nowadays?
Yeah, you circled back around to exactly what Jordan Peterson said in the beginning of the statement, which is if that's what you want, or what is it that you want? And I think that I know that nowadays a lot of people don't know what that is. And they'll just do it because of the attention, because it's easy, because you're here. And then when it comes down to the real work, nobody's really willing to be like, okay, yeah, that's what meaningful means to me. It does start by knowing what that means to you, and how does that look like in your life. Whether that means you want to be together for 5, 10, forever, get married, not get married, or, you know, like have those agreements from the beginning and look for those agreements. Because if you don't have those agreements, then where are we going, and what does this mean?
Again, it's that transparency piece.
All right.
I do think right now there is like a rise in like a problem with people quitting. Like people are so quick to like be like, yeah, I'm out. Like, I mean, social media has taught people like, yo, if it doesn't serve you, on to the next. But in reality, like, nothing serves anybody. Like, it's a choice. Do you want to or do you not want to? And because of that, like, you know, you on Instagram right now, and this is like, as soon as a girl breaks up, all you see in her story is, oh, you don't need anybody but yourself. You don't need anybody but this. But in reality,
but it's so true.
yo,
So
no,
relatable.
but I'm serious. No, but like, cause I was talking to Lynn the other day. Like, animals work off instinct. They don't have like anything else but instinct. What they were made to do. If you get a cat, if you get a dog, you're gonna notice your dog is always up your ass, because they need a society. They need to be social with something. If animals who work off instinct need to be social, then what
makes
what
us
are we
any
doing
different?
here? Yeah, like if anything, we need it even more, because animals to a certain degree they're on autopilot too, for the most part.
Yeah,
but like humans, like,
Doge.
yeah, like they have to abide.
I'll never look at Brian the same.
Hassan will probably never look at his cat the same.
I'm telling you right now.
Now we're gonna look at our animals and be like, "Fuck, it's deeper than what we think."
No,
She's my friend.
Lynn, because what's crazy, yo, is every time I come home, my cat greets me the same exact way.
You see
every time I go to
consistency.
sleep.
First of all, let's give that out. Consistency. What we need more of. Like,
bro, every single time I see him, he treats me like it's the first time I've ever met him, and it's great. But like, where is that energy outside of my cat?
Dead
Period.
ass. That's it. Period. That's where it ends. This is so true. It's so true. Anybody else want to dive
We need
into
more
that?
autopilot humans.
I do want to say that I do agree to Hassan's point. Facts. Even with memes, and this is not talked about, but there's memes out there that I read, and after I figure out what I need and like what I want, and I go search it in a book or something, like hear it in a podcast, and I'm like, okay, like reflect and resonates with me. I be looking at memes that be talking about some, oh, you don't need nobody, or like just like making it seem like it's okay to be single. And I'm just like, you see, like this is the power where social media either can be good for you or bad for you, especially if you don't know where you're going, who you are, what do you want. Like you can be easy influence in a heartbeat, and then you choose your path, and then you're messed up. Like, but this is what's been happening. This is the circumstances of that, like the consequences. I mean, sorry.
I have a question though. With something to Lynn said, like we think being single, like he said something about being single, like being single, it's you can't be single forever. Like he's saying, like it's kind of wrong to be single forever, but technically, being single and having self-love is two different things too. It's two different things. When you find your self-love and you find love for yourself, that single part does not matter anymore, because you want to make sure the next person, if you decide to be with that next person, can love you the way that you love yourself. And that's why sometimes being single, no one can amount to that love that you have for yourself. So I think when he said that, I kind of disagree with him, because there's people in this world that I know that are single, but they are so happy because the love that they have for themselves is immensely, like no one can ever come close to that besides someone above. You know what I mean? So I think when people say, oh, you're single, like, damn, you've been single for 5 years. Like, what's wrong with that? Well, our society is so like, you need to be in a relationship, you need to be married, you need to have a cat. You need to have a kid. You need to be
facts. Hassan, you're rubbing up on people.
Like the white ticket said. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's the thing is our society puts like instill like you have to be these things, but we're breaking chains. Like our generations are breaking chains over and over. Like when I was growing up, my parents were married and it's a husband and a wife. I'm a lesbian. I'm not by their rules. So I'm already breaking that chain of like the society of norm, you know? So being single, I think now it's becoming an idea of people like kind of understanding it more, that it's okay to be single. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not, I'm going to shun you because you're single and I'm at home with my son and my wife. Like that's okay, you know? Yeah. And I'm not going to love you any less. So I think that's where we have to understand is like being single, it's okay.
I'm just going to play a little bit of devil's advocate when you're done.
Well, before you go, I do want to say that he did state that, you know, it's not a forever thing. And I do believe that there's a balance. And I say that because I'm in that place right now. Like I'm in a place where there's still more work to always do. And there's always going to be work to do, like no matter what. And, you know, I've put in a lot of work, but I'm okay now knowing that I'm single and that I'm open to waiting for that person. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just something that I want. So and just as he stated, like there's still people around you. There should still be people around you that check you about yourself. Like, you know, like we need that. And you know, it's very different because it's a lot more closer. And I feel like we still do need that at some point. Like, I don't think it's okay for us to like think to ourselves like in that level of insanity of like, nah, like never. It's okay. Like I don't know. I feel like there's like you kind of go through stages, but if something's meant for you, like, and you want to go through it, you will go through it. But I just wanted to bring that back up because he did state that. Go ahead, Diamond, play devil's advocate.
Damn. I just also want to bring up the fact that I think self-love is great, and I think that it's good for people to have that. I don't genuinely think that majority of people are single by choice, is all I'm going to say. I think if you're to that extent and you're single by choice, fine. All more power to you. But I think majority of people in the back of their head, it's not like I don't want to be in a relationship and I just want to be single. You always still want to be in a relationship. And a lot of people whether it's their own insecurities, they don't fit the narrative of society, mental disorders, whatever the case, disabilities, a lot of things. But I don't feel like a lot of people, if they had the choice, would be single. I think a lot of it is out of their control, due to mainly lack of this will go back to that self-love, or at least having more confidence in yourself, to pursue and not wait and be pursued. Yeah, that's my only devil's advocate for that. We have a couple other people on the panel though that haven't spoke. Hey.
I was gonna say I wouldn't, but I don't think anyone is wrong in anything that they said or how they feel. I would just come at it from a different point of view, like, or from the opposite of kind of like, so like Angie said that, like, in a lot of ways, social media has made relationships harder in certain ways. What I would say is, well, to directly answer the question, I don't think that like cultivating a relationship in and of itself is difficult. I think that maintaining it is kind of difficult, because, you know, it does take work to maintain that relationship. But has it become more difficult? I guess it just depends on your perspective and what you're looking for. So like I was gonna say, Angie said that like social media has made relationships harder, but like think about the things that exist because of the technology that we have at our disposal that our parents and stuff didn't have. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, our parents didn't have like, hey, what's your love language type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that wasn't a thing for them. But for us, it's more of like that's more of a more important thing that you hear like in the dating and relationship world and stuff like that, because it helps like other people look at like life and relationships through a different like lens that maybe they otherwise wouldn't be able to look through it. So in that regard, like, so that's a form of social media that has made getting to know, understanding, getting to know somebody or just a partner or whatever has been like a little bit easier. There's actually I haven't tried it or anything, I just heard about it. There's like a dating app called Paired, where you and your partner both put in information. Like, they ask you a question like, I don't know, like, what's your favorite food? Your top 3 favorite foods. And then ask your partner the same thing. And then you, I guess, like, compare your answers to try and better understand where each other, like, what your likes are, where each other's coming from. You know, questions just like this that we're being asked. But, like, you know, it asks your partner kind of like away from you. So, like, they can answer it honestly, you can answer it honestly, you can kind of go over it together kind of thing. So I really just think that it just kind of depends on maybe your perspective. If you're a person who just like, yo, I just want to sling it, I don't want no relationship, I just want to be slinging it out here, like, that's gotten easier for you because now you have Tinder, you have this, you have that. Maybe if you're a person looking for something more meaningful, you might look at, you know, a Tinder and think that, you know, that's not for me, just because like you feel maybe that it's meant for this type of group and not meant for that type of group. So I don't know, like, I just think it kind of depends, but I don't always want to just say that it is the media aspect of it, because like I do kind of agree that like at our cores, we're social creatures. You know, like, what was the number one thing that was a problem during the pandemic? We couldn't get out. We couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't talk to people. We couldn't experience things. We couldn't, you know what I mean? So yeah, there's just, I guess, another way. I don't think anyone's wrong. I think you're both bring up good points. I just think it's another way to look at it.
I also do want to say that I feel like, you know, I understand your point of view, but I also see it in the terms of way deeper than that. Like, I feel like social media has made everything so accessible, but it has damaged relationships to a certain extent, because a lot of this, like, meaningful, and when we see people and like what now healthy looks like is very different. And we all have to say, like, trauma is one of those things, right? Like, we have to deal with our traumas, we have to deal with our insecurities, inadequacy, our moments where we may not feel our all. And I feel like nowadays when that happens, and that's why when Hassan's point states nobody wants to really stay, it's like when something doesn't go your way, or when something goes left, or when you're just in it for that, like you're trying to go in it just for sex, you know, it becomes so much harder for the people that actually do want something. Or just in general, you're also limiting yourself and stopping yourself from gaining something greater. I don't think that nowadays relationships are seen as like, damn, like, hey, I want to be in one. I think that idea of it has gotten left a lot. Like, it's just more like, oh, well, okay, whatever you want to do, you know. But it takes away from the beauty of it. And granted, to each his own, right? Like, you choose whatever path you want to choose, but I feel like majority is definitely, that's why I say it's rough. We've been saying that in the last 2 panels, like, it's rough. So I just wanted to throw that gem in there. Ariel and Janvi, if you guys want to add anything.
I want to say that I think everyone that comes into your life, it's karmic. Like, everyone's going to teach you something. All kinds of relationship is going to teach you something or the else. And I'm very old school, never used dating apps, never going to use dating apps. I believe in meeting person to person. I see my grandparents, how they met each other and how they are having their relationships. If you are in a toxic relationship and if you get out of it, you're going to bloom. But if you meet someone, you're going to bloom still. So, like, it depends on the perspective. Sometimes it is important for you to like be with someone in a relationship, but at the same time, it is important for you to love yourself as well. And if you're not able, like, it's a balance. So I feel like there should be a balance for both the things, you know, like loving someone, but at the same time loving yourself.
I guess I'll go. It's a little hard to get the end of the stick because, like, I do agree with a lot of what everyone said, like self-love, a lot of the topics that were brought upon. But to answer the question directly, do you think it has been harder to have meaningful? I think so. I do think so. I think that, like everyone, well, not everyone, but like a lot of people said here, it's just, I feel like we have a bundle of options now. I feel like if I'm at a bagel shop and I see a pretty girl, I'm like, oh, she's pretty.
Big game. Go ahead.
I feel like, oh, she's pretty, but I also have the option to go on Tinder and probably find somebody that looks better. I feel like we have kind of filtered our options to being like, it's not just about physical appearance, or just emotional. It's about physical appearance. It's about, what do I want in that person? What do I think I want? But you ultimately end up with a really pretty girl, and inside it's like, damn, this is not what I wanted. And that's where it becomes toxic and stuff. And it's all about the choices you make. I'm a huge believer in that. Just like, you need to start making choices for yourself. If you think you made the wrong one, just do the right one. I can't answer the question of has it always been hard, because I can't speak on I can speak on like my parents and stuff, but like I don't know to the extent of what they went through, so I can only speak of now. Is it hard now? I would say so, but I also do think if you do put the effort to put yourself out there, which a lot of people are not willing to, or just don't want to, or just like, oh, whenever I meet somebody, I'll meet somebody. If I meet somebody, then I'll meet somebody, and then I'll be with them. You know what I mean? That's kind of my thoughts. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say.
Yeah, bro. I can definitely agree. Thank you for making it to the end there, Ariel. I know it's hard to be the last person to kind of sum it up, but no, everybody kind of hit the nail on the head. Everyone has their own little hammer, but at the same time, it's the same nail going into the board. Like, relationships, it takes two, or if you're polyamorous, it takes however many to make it work. Like, at the end of the day, it really just depends on the situation and the perspective. I definitely agree with Hassan that there seems to be a trend of, because it's so much access, and it just seems like it's so simple to just drop it and then find something new. You know, I can start fresh. I have a new leaf, you know. But again, what Angelica was saying, if you don't have self-love, you're going to take everything you just did with the one that was toxic to another person. And then that one doesn't work out. So now who becomes the common denominator? Is it the new person, or the one that has a failed situation going on, and it continues and continues? So everybody has valid input, and I appreciate it for sharing, because I actually don't even remember how old everybody is. I think I'm probably like in the middle here, but just turning 30, I can say it's been hard, yes, but at the same time, like I said before, previous episodes, as a dude, it's never been easier, man. You just gotta to get the dating experience is easy, absolutely, but the relationship part is different because of what, again, dropping it, everything is so easy, blah blah blah. I don't like the way that you're treating me or anything along those lines. People have a tendency to just to be like, I gotta put up with this. It's been 6 months. I think I know where this is going. I'll start over. Or, you know, it's so complex, but yet so simple to me. I don't know about anybody else here. Like, there's so many different variables. I want to say that it's simple. It's easy to love somebody, and then you get into a relationship, and all of a sudden it's like, yo, what the I'm supposed to be a mind reader now? I didn't know that. I didn't know you were upset when you did that. I had a rough day today, so now I have to consider my feelings as well as your feelings, and it's different if you haven't had that experience. So it could be dangerous, it could be scary. You know, something is new, it tends to be scary, but if you endure past it, it pays off in the long run.
Would you say that it's harder for men, this question, do you think it's harder for men because it's the whole committing part?
It's harder for men because women are picky.
I think it's harder for men just because also like the pickiness and the fact that like, bro, they got options.
That's
they
harder.
really got options. They got a whole phone full of options. If a girl tells a guy come over, that guy's coming over immediately. Like if a guy tells a girl come over, she's not answering back, bro. Like just hit the gym, you're good.
Just at the gym, you see. But is that like, that's the disconnect? It's just the we spoke about this, women expecting and not giving, just expecting. So
to a certain degree, and I acknowledge it. Like, I know that's the reality of life. Like, for the most part, like, men or people in the masculine role, we're supposed to do the chasing. We do the invitations, we do the plannings and stuff like that. But, you know, as a dude, it's nice every once in a while. You know, you have a little attention, that because we don't get compliments often. We don't get that. Not like we're looking for it. It's just that if, let's say on the woman's perspective, if you really want to get that guy and attract that guy, just giving him a compliment or standing out and not like being too needy, but just sharing your time with him, you would step out and in front of a lot of different prospects for him. If you think that you can't compete or whatever, it's just, in general, men aren't getting that same amount of attention that women get, even if it's unwarranted, you know. Even if it's the damn girl, you look good. Like, men, we don't. We got to wear a suit. We got to look proper. We got to get a fresh cut. We got to smell nice. Have a nice smile. Like, it takes quite a bit. And, you know, for the most part, you can put on a dress, do your hair, look pretty, put some shoes on. fresh faced out the shower, selfie. Like it's just, it doesn't equate.
Not
It's
the
It's
Alright, so not to cut you short, but
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I feel like we all shared, and I definitely want to move to the next one because I feel as though the next one definitely adds to the men aspect of it. And I shared this with this person offline and we had the conversation, but I wanted to bring it to the panel to kind of revise. And like I stated earlier on when we first started, we were going to recap some of the episodes. So on the woman's perspective, Angelica says something that didn't resonate well with some of the audience and just myself. And I told her, I'm like, do you mind like kind of expanding a little bit more of what your perspective looks like? But she stated that we don't need men, right? And that at some point, right? And at the same time, this is coming from also and I don't want to speak for you, Angelica, but I'm just trying to like make it, you know what I'm saying? But more of the perspective of like, yeah, like we're now more empowered as women, and we come from a place of like, yeah, like anything you can do, I can do. Like, why can't I? But I came from the thought of, I don't like we shouldn't think that way because we do need you guys, and at the same time, it's more of like I shouldn't have to do all those things at the same time, right? Or any other woman, even heterosexual or lesbian or whatever, shouldn't think that way. So I'm gonna replay the clip because I do ask a question within that went to that, and then we'll discuss it. So just give me 1 second. But that's what men were saying, like dating apps, for example. They go on there to, like, let's be like, I doubt any of, well, that's another question. Like, would any of you go on there to, just and then like get out, because that's what men mainly go on there for. They're not there for relationships. So
To answer that, a lot of women now do. A lot of women now do that because, like, you gotta think about it. Us women, like, back then we didn't have a voice. Right? Yeah. We don't have a voice. Now we're getting our voice back, and we don't need men. Like, we can do whatever we need to do and be just like a man. If I want to have a one-night stand, I can have a one-night stand. And at the end of the day, like, these men are crying because this girl does not call them back and stuff like that. So it roles change. Like, and that's one thing I guess some men don't understand. It's like a lot of women nowadays, they can stand on their own 2 feet. They don't need you.
Yeah, that's true. Hey. Cool. So there you have it. That was a quick recap of what that message was. So before we go crazy, I want Angelica first to, share your perspective as to what we had a conversation about, and what was your message? What did your message truly mean with that?
Yeah.
Or even just your perspective too.
Yeah, I forgot the question. Why I was talking about that again.
We were talking about sex, like men just go on like apps to like go fuck and like just do that in
yeah.
And
gotcha. Yeah, so what I was like explaining is that, like, again, explain this for not anyone to get like a titty attack, excuse my language. My thing is like, we always expect, like, us as females, we expect like the man to play the role. Like, the man's supposed to pay for the bill, do these things, all this, right? And that's how we look at it. That's how we look at it, right? And at the end of the day, it shouldn't be like that. Like, I'm a lesbian. Like I was saying before, I'm a lesbian and I'm dating a female. So obviously there's no male in our vicinity at all. So that right there is the sense of like, I do everything for my partner. I don't think I'm a male. Like, let's get this right. I don't think I'm a male. I don't act like a male. I don't do any of those things, but I do for my partner, and I treat her the way that I want to be treated. When it comes to society, is that we always think about, oh, you need to be with a guy because a guy can open a can of pickles for you, or a guy can be a great father because if you have a son, he needs to be around a male figure. Like, don't get me wrong, I have a son, and he has 2 moms, and he has several other women around him, but he has uncles. He has all of these other male figures around him, but I'm not with the guy. So when I talk about women don't need men, I don't need a man to be happy. You know what I mean? I don't need a man to sit there and tell me, oh, that I got you when we go out to dinner, or let me open the door for you. Don't make me feel like I am selfless when I could do things that I could do on my own, you know? So when people are getting like so bent out of shape about when I say women don't need a man, because at the end of the day, us women, we think like men. We truly do start thinking like men, because when guys are having 7 different girlfriends and we don't know anything about it, and then all of a sudden, like, you're getting upset because she's doing the same exact thing back to you, you know?
She's
So
matching
I
that
guess,
energy.
like,
Yeah.
exactly. So when I say that us females don't need a man, it's because at the end of the day, it's like we want to be appreciated and valued and equal. Just because you can open a door for me or open a can of jar, I got a tool, I can open a can of jar. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just things like that. It's like you at the same time is like men need women because for what? Talking about sex
Society.
or to bear children, or that's what you, and like when you really think about it, that's what society's talking about. At the end of the day, we just stop thinking about society and think about what we need, you know? So I guess when I say that, it's like not to bash man, because I love you guys, like you guys are great, I love you guys, but in my world, I don't need a man to tell me that I'm beautiful or I'm this, because I got a female doing that, you know? So it's like, I don't know, like I think people just sometimes take things so far when they are butthurt or hate hearing the truth, they get upset. And I'm sorry, as a lesbian, and I'm telling you that I don't need a man, or some females don't need a man because we think just like you. Don't get butthurt. Just seek to understand and why. So that's really what it is at the end of the day.
Gavin's over here laughing. Gavin, which
I just want to comment on something. That paying for dinner thing, y'all could have that. Honestly,
no,
I'm gonna
that
give you
pay-
that.
yo.
Personally, I will tell you, a
But-
girlfriend should be tax deductible, my boy. Like, I can't do this no more. We go out to dinner, you want to split the check? Say less. You want to open that can? Say less. You want to drive and me be in the passenger seat? Please. You
I would-
want to cuddle and I'm little spoon?
You already know. You already know.
Look at Tarek in the back. You already know.
Right.
He know. He relate. It's hitting him. It's hitting him. It's like, nah.
Bro, sometimes
feeling,
men
man.
want men want to be treated like women sometimes. I'm sorry, yo, but y'all get treated like princesses and we need that. I need
Crazy.
that.
Feminine. Do
I
you
can't,
think
bro.
that feminine and masculine is like a gender thing?
No, bro. I mean, it's a balance. Everybody has a bit of both in them. Like, you can't just
Yeah.
like throw it at one person.
Yeah, it's definitely a balance thing. To piggyback off, or I should say to combat what Angelica is saying, I find it a hard time to believe that women actually are thinking like men. I'm going to disagree, because if I were to say like, oh, I'm sorry to keep using this example, but if Lizzo is beautiful and I say you look like Lizzo, don't take offense. It's just one of those things where, no, you don't think like men, because men are going to tell you objectively she's not beautiful. And there's a lot of men out here that say we don't want that, we don't like that, we don't like how you're treating us, and it goes ignored. And it's just we're not equal, unfortunately. Our bone density is not equal, our brain chemistry is not equal, our lung capacity is not equal. And that's okay. However, we are compatible. We work together, we build stuff. Women are better at a lot of things compared to men, just like men are better at a lot of things compared to women. We just fit with each other, and that's perfectly okay. However, men need women. We need women. We want a family. We need women. That's it. It's just, I can't reproduce with another man, period. Can't make it up. I don't care about science, new technology. I don't care. The day is the same. Tomorrow's going to be the same. Yesterday was today. We need women.
But I feel like too, like we need each other, and at the same time, I do believe that now there's different ways to continue that reproductive thing. Like I do disagree to that, but I still within the realm of that. would still want my kid to have some type of, whether that's my friends, whether that's my cousins, whatever it looks like, I still want that male figure there. And I feel like sometimes, especially and I'm just speaking for myself, thinking as a lesbian, I always have to present myself as the masculine. And that's why I asked, do you believe that that is a gender thing? Because to me, I have feminine and I have masculine, and I've experienced women literally tell me like, why are you so feminine? Or like, why are you like coming off like that? And it's like and then that made me overthink to myself, like, whoa, damn, do I have to be in my masculine all the time? Also, not growing up with a dad, I felt like I needed to be in my masculine because I had to protect my mom. Like, she didn't have that. Like, and I saw my parents split up. So to me, it was like I constantly felt like I had to be in my masculine. And it wasn't until I actually started understanding men, giving men that aspect. Like, don't even get me wrong, I'm about to be real vulnerable, like even down to sexual abuse. Like, men do have this specific, because at the end, like T said, you are not equal. You are stronger than me. Because if you were to take me and rape me and do all that stuff, like, you're gonna win. You're gonna win, regardless of what I know. Like, regardless of what I know and maybe how I can get out, it's still gonna overpower, right? So to me, it's just like that safety aspect became distant, and I still do believe that men bring a safety aspect. And if I feel safety enough around you to be your friend, like I've even told Gav that before. Like, I told him, I was like, yo, like, what just know that this is like the type of like friendship I need, because I've had friends in the past that are male figures that don't know how to act. They don't care if I like a certain type of thing, or like what my preference is. Like, they're still gonna shoot their shot, and I understand you're a man, but then there has to be that discernment of like, damn, okay, like, what are my intentions here as well, right? And I feel like that has steered, and it has painted this picture of like, I don't even know like if I could trust y'all. Like, fuck that shit, you feel me? But now I'm more open to understanding men, like knowing where y'all come from, knowing y'all experiences, knowing how to live with y'all, because I live with one, you feel me? Like, knowing how to sit down and be different but still come together and build as one. So, you know, I say that, and I share all that vulnerability because, again, like, I just been always there in the masculine, and I've never been able to be feminine. And even for men, just as you guys are stating, like, I want to be taken out for dinner, like this, that, and the third. I want to be paid for. I want to be pampered. I want to be the little spoon. Like, hell yeah, like, you deserve that too. I feel like society has separated that and wants to continue to separate that. I think that heterosexual homes are needed. I think that that's beautiful in itself, but I also think that lesbian love is also added, like, just as, you know, as special. Whatever love, if it's fucking love, it's fucking love, you feel me? And if y'all gonna put in that work, be the parents that you need to be, right? But at the same time, like, don't steer away or take credit from anything else, because we all come together as one. Like, and I feel like the human society just keeps trying to separate. And that's why I want to continue to, you know, have these conversations. But I'm gonna stop talking. Whoever else wants to go, please do. Like, I just needed to say that. It's been days. It's been weekends of these thoughts.
I do want to answer your question. Do we need male figures? I do think we do. The male experience is very different. If you have a son, you need him to understand what he's walking into.
Yes.
A man can teach a boy, hey, I know you're upset, I know you're hurt, but you have to keep walking.
Yes.
And that is something that is important, because, you know, guys feel things deep. When the world comes crashing down on us, if we don't keep walking, we will self-implode. And I feel like there's just certain things in the male experience, just like how a daughter needs a woman. Like, they have to learn from both sides. Because if they don't, they just implode on that one side. I'm telling you, like, the ability to keep walking even when you're upset is probably the most important skill you need as a man in today's society.
Can I jump on that, Hassan, what you're about to say? So my thing is, as having a son and raising him in this world, you have to understand is that men, like, seeing the male figures I'm around, you guys boil up so much that when you have someone that's in front of you and tells you, just hug me, it's okay to cry, you not understand at that moment, many of my male figures that I do that to, they literally, their trauma that they have had, let go for that moment and able to release it. So I think it's also okay as young men for them to tell their son or their nephew or their little cousin or even friend's son, it's okay for them to cry. It's okay to see the vulnerability on your side, because that makes them human. Like, you don't want to, we are so structured of men to be so strong all the time that sometimes these men just need to be hugged. These men to just need to be, it's okay to feel what you're feeling. And we, society, and I'm not saying we, society, shun them for that. And that's not, and I look at it and I think it's like, that's, you know, that's really hard to say, because I make sure, like, when my son cries, I'm like, go ahead, let it out. Like, do this thing, you know, because I want him to be able to express those emotions and not feel like he's a punk because he's crying, you know. And I think older generations, like, you guys don't do that because you're more afraid of being judged. And I'm sorry, that that's not okay.
Yeah.
Like, I want you guys to know that it's okay to have your emotions and your feelings. I'm here. Like, if you need a hug, like, yo, I'm here. Like, do it, because I think that's what you need sometimes. Like, you guys don't have enough of that. You guys don't have enough of that vulnerability to be okay.
I have a question, Angelica.
I got a question for you too.
I was gonna say, again, I mean no harm in this, and I do appreciate the fact that you're so transparent with this. So props to you. But do you feel like your son could possibly get bullied in school later on if he's crying for any little thing?
I'm ready for it. You have to understand, how my son is built, he's gonna be very strong. Like, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about ignorance. My son has 2 moms. You know what I mean? He has 2 moms, but he has a big ass family. So I'm not worried about him being bullied, because at the end of the day, I fight kids. Like, no, I'm just joking. But I'm just saying, like, I'm preparing him. I'm already prepared for that, because there's so much ignorance in this world, especially him having 2 moms. It's like, I gotta toughen his skin. You know what I mean? So him crying and he gets bullied by that, that's okay, because that child that's bullying him,
when he's getting, like, you know, you won't be there when he's actually getting physically assaulted. Like, in that specific moment, it's not your whole family that's going to be there. It's not you. It's him against the bully.
You see the difference there? I don't mean to cut you guys off. I was going to interrupt. Go back. So the difference between men and women is that men inherently know that when we're dealing with each other, there's a layer of physical violence all the time. It's not just talking. It's not yapping. That's why I know men and women are not the same. We have to talk to you guys. We can't put our hands on you because it's destructive. But when men talk to other men, we can't talk to each other a certain fashion, because we know that, yo, you talking about my mom? She doing what? Like, so you say that, but trust me, it's okay to cry. Absolutely. It's okay to cry. But he has to, like, channel that into energy, into something else. Because the men, I know me personally, when I have anger or any type of feelings, if I were to work out or do MMA or whatever, release it, feels so much better. And if the child or whoever doesn't know, like, I need an outlet for something like that, it could be bad. And they do studies and stats on this. I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. Like, this is what they talk about.
Like, I have a question about that though. Like, do you feel like it's more of because women were more emotional and, like, we use words, like, is it coming from that aspect of it, like, not knowing how to, like, it's all emotional based. So I'm more assuming more of the emotional intelligence, like that emotional intelligence have to go to something logical, like a game or like a sport or like you said, the gym.
Our brains are just wired completely different.
Like, okay.
And when you start to look at it from that aspect of our brains are actually wired differently, because
that's what I think about though.
You remember, prime example, you remember when Diamond rolled her ankle and you brought her home and you were walking up the stairs and you were also hurt? but I had to get the groceries.
Yeah.
So the first thing I do is like, you had her, right? You had the
Yeah.
support. So she was like, oh, you know, I put the bags in there and all this and third. I'm like, I don't care about the bags. Like, I'm gonna take the groceries upstairs. Go help her out. And I was trying to get other things prepared. However, I didn't check on her, right? So it became a whole thing.
Yeah.
But we're wired differently. Like I was doing stuff. I wasn't like wasting time twiddling my thumbs. Like I was cleaning the house, putting the groceries away, making sure everything was good. But it was that little tiny part of like.
But I think it's that miscommunication, because to be reminded of that moment, you also didn't communicate it like perfectly, and that's why I
was doing exactly.
Yeah, like that's why I say from a men's aspect, like that can affect women in a sense, because it's like you're not communicating effectively, and that's why I say you are wired differently, to the point that even down to how you deal with your feelings is different. Like you may have felt some type of way in that moment, but we don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like now it's that's when it shows in adulthood.
Mhm.
So what is it that a boy would need in terms of like how to channel those things? Because with women, we need to talk, we need to cry, we need to do certain things, right? And I think that it is okay to have your son cry and have those moments, but there also has to be it's a balance thing, because then it's also to the point of you can't do that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like you do have to walk with head up high, because you gotta be, essentially, no matter what, it's like you're always gonna be looked at, you gotta be the rock. You know, that's just what masculinity brings out of that comfortability, that like assurance, essentially.
And it's kind of unfortunate that is how it is, but that's just the reality of the world. Like, I can ask everybody at this panel, let's say we're in the military, okay? Perfect example. And your commander-in-chief, he just starts fucking crying. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't know what to do. He starts bawling his eyes. He has no command of the troops, nothing. And then he tries to give you an order literally 10 minutes later. How do you feel? See Hassan's face?
I
And
don't
that's
know.
the commander-in-chief.
I would give him that grace, though. I feel like men don't get that grace.
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna be
follow
honest with
somebody
you.
that doesn't know
But
what
maybe
to do.
that's because I think the way I think nowadays. Like,
Lynn,
That
I
person
get
has.
that. I get the
Go ahead.
grace, but at the end of the day, we're taught, no matter what, get the job done. No matter what, take care of yourself. If I see somebody that can compromise me going forward, I have to leave it be. Like, maybe he has the greatest plan on earth, but the problem is that little vulnerability he showed. It puts a hindrance on me going forward. If he's looking stoic and strong, I'm like, okay, this guy's confident. This is somebody I will go to the front line with. But how do I know that at the last second, if I'm going into battle with this guy, that he's not going to cry again and go to the back? That's the one problem. And yeah, it's...
Gav, I need you to talk, because he
Oh,
laughed.
please, Gav.
I was gonna say, but before Gav goes, that's exactly how, unfortunately, women treat us in relationships. If they look at us for protection and being the leader, we can't show weakness. As many is gonna chip away at that little thing in their head, like this guy ain't shit. He's crying all the time or whatever. And it could be once or twice. All of a sudden, now it's all the time. Now there's gonna be an argument. She's gonna bring it up, like, "Oh, you're such a P word." You know, you're such a like. It happens too often for people to just say it's okay to cry. Cry to yourself. Like, take a walk, think about your life, but understand that maybe, because I cry too. No funny shit. I'll cry, but it maybe I'm frustrated. You know, I didn't get to go to my night classes. Now I'm upset. I'm not gonna cry about it, but maybe I'm frustrated. Or maybe, why am I here in this predicament again in this relationship? Why are we arguing about the same stuff? I thought we fixed it. Am I not good enough? Now again, frustration, anger. Now you're just self-deprecating yourself, and that's where it starts to well up. Because again, Angie, I agree with you. We should be able to talk to one another, even as men. Like, yo, bro, it's okay. Like, you let it out. Like, I'm not gonna judge you because I understand where you're coming from. I understand that it's not easy being a man in this world. It's not. And he's gonna love you as much as he can as his mom and your wife, and having 2 moms. He's gonna love you, but it's just gonna be something inside of him that he's gonna grow into it. You know, he's always gonna love you, just like I love my mom. I didn't have my dad, and it's just something that we learn. We'll have male figures, whether it's our boss or anyone in our sports teams, or you know, our teachers in school, or whatever is that male figure. That tends to be like, we're gonna take bits and pieces of like, okay, that's a positive role model. I want to be like him. I like how he handled this situation. I want to be more like that. If the child, like how I was, and sorry for being vulnerable, but if the child was not as expressive, like with his emotions, how I was, it could show up in other ways, whether he's going to shut down during communication.
Don't you ever say sorry ever again, but continue.
Because I'm rambling. I don't want to just ramble. But it could tend to like shut down during communication, and then that shutdown could lead to like a domino effect, you know, in other things in his life. And just do your best. That's all I gotta say. Just do your best, and keep providing that support that he's gonna need.
So to say something off of that, and I wanted to answer you, Ariel. So my son, when he gets to an age, we already have implemented that we're putting him into boxing. We're putting him to karate and stuff like that. Because again, we're not going to be there. He's going to be in school like 8 hours out of the day, and there could be situations that can occur. But I'm going to set him up to success. So if that does occur, he's good. Like, the thing is, I'm not worried about my son. I'm worried about everyone else around him. When I say that, it's just like me. I'm not a fighter, but if you get me to a point that I have to put my hands on you, you better hope and pray that someone's gonna pull me off of you. When I mean like that. That's why, like, when people ask me like, oh, how are you gonna feel when he gets older, this and that, all I wanna do, my son's gonna walk his own path at the end of the day. But my goal, my job as a mom is to make sure that that path that he's walking on is the right one. He may steer off a little bit to the right. That's gonna occur because he's gonna have certain friends and stuff like that. But again, this brings in your partner, whoever relationship you're with. That partner is gonna be that other person that's gonna be the outside person looking in as well to help you. You know? So it's like, I can't sit there and say like, oh yeah, he's gonna be perfect and there's not gonna be nothing wrong and there's gonna be no fights ever. I can't sit there and say that. I can sit there and say right now, these past 2 years, my son is strong. He's very strong. When he falls, I don't sit there and say, oh, you're okay, you're all right. I sit there and wait and I watch him to see what he's going to do. And when he gets up and stands up, all I sit there and tell him, you're safe. You're safe. That's all my son needs to know, is that he's safe. I'm not gonna sit there and tell him, oh, get up, you're weak, you're this. I watch him. That's all. As parents, you sit there and just watch that little person that you made do his thing. All you're there is just to guide them. You know, and society's gonna do whatever, and he may get bullied. Oh, my son might be the bully. I don't know. You know what I mean? But all I know is that when it's time that my son needs to start joining boxing and karate and do all of these things, self-defense, he's gonna do that.
No, that's dope that you're getting him. You're gonna get him into, that's discipline and brotherhood. That's gonna be something that's very valid. That is gonna reinforce that. And it sounds like you have a safe environment at home, which is dope. Trust me, because boys, we're gonna like to run around and climb stuff and fall and get.
Trust me, he already crazy. Crazy.
But that's good because he's gonna learn, you know, spatial awareness and how to use his hands, and you know, I'm sure you're gonna teach him not to actually put his hands on people, but to protect himself. So, of course, that's good.
No, yeah, that was a really good segue and a great point to tie it all in together in terms of like that outlet, you know, and knowing that it's safe. I think that for men need that too. In general, everybody needs that. We all need to feel like, okay, it's cool, it's all right. Gotta get back up, and that's why it's a balance there, and that's all you need, a balance. Gav, John V, Ariel, any other thoughts?
I want to share something about like how the balance is important because I think you should treat them the way you want to be treated. So sometimes if you are taking the accountability to like pay something, or as Hassan said, be a little spoon, I think it should be balanced. And it shouldn't be like just to men. Like women should also do the same thing. I've seen my mom and dad, like I'm very close to my mom, but I'm also very, very close to my dad too. Because I have seen my dad sending me to like classes like karate, like just like Angie said. Um, but at the same time, I've seen my dad in tears when I'm not able to like when I'm feeling low or in my tough times in life. So um, I think it's normal for men to cry, but I think sometimes when men is in front of some other men, I think they're not able to like open up or show up their emotions. But I've seen like my mom balancing that when my dad is getting emotional, or when my mom is getting emotional, my dad is balancing that. So like um, I think it should be balanced, moderation.
I also want to add something in quickly. I'm saving you for last, Gav. Since I spoke a little bit or just responded to Angelica, I just wanted to quickly say in the beginning, you said something about, I'm speaking to you, Angelica, by the way. You said something about like men get on like Tinder and like they're just there to straight bag and stuff like that. I also feel like women do the same thing. I just want to make that clear. Women are also on there trying to bag and leave men emotionally damaged as well. So besides that, also I do want to say one more thing. Women are also making or starting to make more money than men. Obviously not in totality right now. Obviously men are still making more, but women are getting up there. There are a lot of women CEOs nowadays, and there are a lot of women making their name. But regardless of how much money women make and how much, of a big picture they stand out as, I still feel like there's still that balance that we keep talking about, and that men can bring that balance, that brain that we keep talking about, how we're hardwired differently, things like that. I do feel like there is some genuine results that you can see with a male partner. Maybe not exactly what I can pinpoint right now, but I feel like we have covered it all. But yeah, I just wanted to get those 2 points out, that women do get on Tinder to bag, and women are also making money. So I just want to say that.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that one back around because we needed to hear that one. That
I
one
actually
was
wrote it
definitely
down.
good.
Yeah,
I'm so happy.
I was writing it down.
Yo, that was a good ass point because it's true. Women are definitely making more than men, and they, just like to Angelica's point in the beginning of the question, it was definitely, yeah, women do the same thing, and that's why I stated earlier on, like matching energies. Like it ain't cute though. It ain't cute on neither end, but it goes on, and that's really a thing. And I think sometimes it gets so glorified towards men because it's been such an era of that, and so much history behind even other shit with that. Like, men were first to like be like, I want 7 wives, and there's religions out there that do that, like, to each his own. But at the end of it all, women are also out here just going on there and just wanting one thing, and that's why I had to get off there. And I say it constantly, I am not the person to do dating apps because I would rather meet you out there in the world some way, somehow. I believe in a higher power, so may he place you here for me, but I'm not putting myself on a dating app because I already have my own sets of trauma and wounds I'm healing, and that shit triggers a lot in me because to me, like, I really don't know what I'm getting into. Like, I would rather, and even if it's open enough to like get to know you, it's still the thought that you're there. and I'm here. And I'm like, well, why are we both here? Like it's a lot for me, but yeah, I just had to share that point and add to
Can
that.
I say something real quick? Yeah, to that, Lynn. You know how he's brought up like women go on from one thing within. Do you think I have actually a question to you guys for men? Do you think when a woman cheats on you, it hurts harder if you were to cheat on them?
Oh,
Yes. Reason being, it's easy for y'all to cheat, so it's kind of not respected, and it's hard for us to even. I wouldn't even say get sex, but men go on date for sex. We don't care. Literally, like, oh, who you are as a person, whatever. We don't care yet, right? We want sex first. It's just we see you, we're like, damn, attractive, sex. We don't look at you and go, oh my God, I wonder if she has a fucking PhD. I wonder what she does in her free time. Oh my God, that gets me so wet. What, she makes this amount of money? Oh God, that's so hot. No, we just want to smash. So we know
that's why
women,
they are.
we gotta talk to you. We gotta be nice. We can't be creeps. It's part of the game. Unfortunately, it's a game, so we gotta play it. But it's not like we're actually assholes about it. We know we have to follow the rules, because if every guy just walked up to you and goes like, wow, yeah, like, are you free in 10 minutes? Like, come on, like, that's not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? So it's literally harder than a woman can just go social media, anything, Instagram, Facebook. Go back on MySpace. You'll get it. Step outside right now, butt naked. Someone will be there in 5 minutes. Easy. Men were arrested. We can't do that. So it's just one of those things where it's like, yo, I worked so hard to get this thing, and then we're going at it, and then for you to it's like an attack on me. Some people might think it's controlling, but it's more like territorial, in a sense where I'm not trying to like dominate you, but it's like, yo, like, we're together, you're mine, you're with me, and now you're just giving it away to some bum. He doesn't even work. He's driving your car, sleeping on your couch. Like, I just don't get it. And I see it sometimes, and I still just don't get it. So it hurts, man.
Do you think it's more of an ego thing? I think it's more of an ego thing. Like, I think a female, to my understanding, like us as women, if we cheat on you, it's more of an ego thing. Like you said. Back. Yeah, like, it's more of like, see, with me, it's like, if someone cheats on me, I'm like, I do the same thing. Like, you with that, fuck that man shit. That person ain't shit. Like, you start bad mouthing this person. You don't have no idea who this person is or nothing. But you bad mouthing them, all of these things. They can't do this. They can't do that. And you're trying to put yourself back on that, like, that pedestal that you thought you were on with that person. So I think when I say, like, when a female cheats on you, it hurts more. I think is that emotional connection that you thought that female had with you only, and she's giving it up to the next guy.
Yeah,
so
exactly
when I ask that, is like, yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like, when it comes to Tinder, like, yes, there's a lot of females out there now that are doing the same thing as men been doing, but I think it's hurting men more now because they seeing it. Like, women, they don't sugarcoat stuff. They do it in front of you. Like, you could be at the movies and they're on the next date. They like, and you're like, what? I thought you were at home. Mom's sick. Oh yeah, she got better. You know what I mean? Like, it's things like that. But it's crazy to look at it. It's like, men been doing that. Now women are doing it more now.
Yeah.
That's why
the only thing I'll say on that is, I forget, there was a study a while back. I could probably look this up, but when men have sex, it's to bust a nut. Let's be real. It's literally why there's something called post-nut clarity. Like, you'll bust your nut and be like, never mind, never doing this again. But when a woman does, there's a chemical in her brain that's released that's similar to the love chemical. It's a very big difference when they cheat. Like, bro, Future, I don't think Future even knows what the concept of love is. He loves himself. That's it. Like, I get it. But the reality is, like, the woman on the end of Future, she probably fell in love. Like, it's a very, like, different experience for us. Like, the nut part, how I feel after it is very different than how somebody else will feel after it.
And
Yeah.
I know that. Go ahead. I'm about to say I know that for a live fact, because even if you were to think about prawn, the whole prawn industry, mostly male viewers, right? We all have similar experiences. I don't want to put anybody in the spot, but get the post nut, right? Middle of the video. You're not even at the end of the video. And then you finish it, you're like, God, this is fucking disgusting. Like, why am I even here? I can't believe I just did this, bro. I'm so disgusted. And then, like, how many times do you want to repeat that cycle, though? Like, something's going on. But to Hassan's point, it's exactly that. If this ties into the thing where you probably heard women like say, "Oh, all these men don't know how to make me like I've never had an orgasm," and blah blah blah. And it's not because men don't know how to give you an orgasm; just don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's why, we're capable on this end as lesbians.
That's the
Thank
difference.
you.
And then when you get someone who does care about you, then both of you have that little
Like me.
connection.
Like me.
Yeah, that's where it comes from.
That's
But
when
if
the
you're just
love
having all these
deeper.
one night stands and homeboys pulling up at 12:15 at night,
Hand
some
for
fresh
you, girl.
bagels,
Hand for you, girl. Say now.
DoorDash, that's it.
Yeah, no, that's different type of work. That's definitely different type of work. Gav, I need you to speak.
Why you calling me? I'm just listening.
Because you're laughing in the back. And you're laughing a lot.
not
A little
laughing.
harder than usual.
I'm funny.
You see?
Am I funny?
Yeah, all funny.
Nah, it's not that. It's not that. I agree. When I agree with certain things, it's like you're laughing sometimes because like how much you agree with stuff.
Trust me, I know. I know that's why you're laughing. You don't gotta explain yourself. I know exactly.
I will.
that's why you're
Okay,
laughing.
so I want to make sure I directly answer like the question. Do I think like it hurts more with women? Like if a woman cheats versus if we do it, I would say no. It doesn't hurt us as much as it hurts a woman because like I feel like women are more creatures of like emotion and stuff. So to Hassan's point where he's like, yo, like if you sleep with somebody and they release like a chemical in their brain that's similar to love, when we can just kind of sling it and not have that same attachment. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you something right now.
So one thing I will say though,
Anyway.
like that I really don't like, because like
Drop it.
I'm definitely like a
Hot
few
take.
weeks ago when Angie and I kind of like broached this topic a little bit, and I was like, nah, you bugging, like you don't need a. I kind of like now I get more of what you're saying because I heard the whole thing now. So like now I have the proper context, but there's still shit that like I don't like, and so a lot of this is social media stuff, but there's really truly people that feel this way. They're like, like I don't like men who play video games. It's like every woman has like a list of criteria. I feel like that of the just not even women, just everybody has a list of criteria of stuff that they're looking for in a partner. But I feel like when it comes to men, like there are maybe certain things in particular that women are looking for. And I feel like we have to match a lot of that shit. And if we don't, then it's like, and it's just, even something as simple as there's a lot of women that will not date niggas shorter than them. It's just is what it is. Like, I'm so glad, like I'm only 6'2" and people tell me how tall I am. I don't think
Only.
I'm tall. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, only. I'm only 6'2".
Man said only, like it's not the top 50% of the world population.
Listen, you know what though? You're absolutely right. I need to stop saying only because there's a lot of kings whose height starts with a 5 and a lot of women ain't gonna talk to them just
Yes,
because
sir.
they're 5'9" or 5'8" or 5'10", and women want like a man who's 6'3", 6'4". That's like, they see another dude in the street, they're like, nah, I ain't gonna mess with his girl. That's a big nigga. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I just don't like that shit that like, I don't know if it's women make this shit up in their head or if it's like a society thing. Like my man can't play video games, or my man can't be into this and can't be into that. And my thing is like, yo, the shit that matters, does he cheat? Does he have a job? Does he have his own car? Does he live with his mama? Does he got 3 or 4 kids by 3 or 4 different women? All the shit that actually should matter. You're not paying attention to that, but like you want to pay attention to what, something that, is inconsequential to whether or not that man has the ability to love you the way you want to be loved. I just think that there's an overemphasis on stuff like that. And honestly, like the same way women say like we don't understand what it's like to be a woman because we can't have kids and we don't have periods and we don't have menstrual cramps and all that other shit that comes along with being a woman. They're absolutely right, 100%. And I'm not comparing what I'm about to say to like childbirth in a vacuum. I'm just saying that like, yo, there's shit that women don't understand either that we go through. And I think that that's like a pressure thing. Like, so I could have a degree, I can make 6 figures, I can have a good job, have a nice car, be single, be healthy, all that stuff, but you wouldn't fuck with me because I play video games, let's say. I don't know. I just think that that's, I don't think we do stuff like that. I don't think that's a man, like, oh, I want a chick who's like this, but I'm only going to mess with her if she's this way. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think it's like a pressure thing. And I think a lot of women lose sight of things like that, the societal, the pressure society has for us to be men and manly men and, things like that. And, women don't know, kind of like every man has it within them. Like, even if you're friendly, even if like you present yourself, even if your deposition is like really good and agreeable and everything like that, every man has like an innate, I'm gonna size you up kind of thing, where if just in case things go south, if I gotta hit you, I want to measure my testosterone against yours type of thing. And I don't think like they get like little nuances and things like that. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just those things like bring the pressure and make it more difficult to be a man. Then I don't think it's. I will say this. I don't think it's as difficult being a man as it is a woman, especially not in this country. But like, I will say that I think there are some women who underestimate how hard it is to be a man, and they don't take certain things that are into account. So it really annoys me when I just see stuff online or whatever. Oh, my man can't be like this or can't be like that, but you want a man who's matches all this criteria for you. I think it's stupid, but
and
yeah.
then they get the man at the criteria, and then they don't do anything to keep him. They don't figure out that, okay, relationships are not just, I got the man, now he has to pay for my life. It's like, wait a minute, what did the man have to do to get there? Like, you've completely forgot about this other human life that had to bust his ass off to make that salary amount that you wanted, to make the network connections that you gonna get your lifestyle based off of. Well, fuck it though, you can replace him.
You know what I'm saying? And just as kind of like, just to add on to kind of what you were saying, like, and I know like reality TV is not like indicative of anything really. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times it's entertainment and it's just there for, to make money and stuff like that. But think of it this way. There's a lot of like, we use like Love and Hip Hop and Basketball Wives and shit like that, where it's like these women marry these athletes, okay? And then for whatever reason, while they're with the athlete or whatever, maybe like they started making women's makeup. Like Stephen Curry's wife has like cooking shows and stuff all over the place. And it's like, what if like, you know what I'm saying? Like, then they break up. I'm not Stephen and Aisha Curry. I just mean like, let's say like basketball player breaks up with homegirl or whatever. Like, there are times like where we don't see or hear from dude ever again. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is the information age. This is where everyone has a podcast, where everyone is visible, everyone's on a show, everyone's on a podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just kind of like the we live in like the visibility age of life, and we don't hear from a lot of them. But then like such and such is still able to like get whatever amount of followers on Instagram or stuff like that. They're able to like go into another area of entrepreneurship or money making or whatever the case may be. Whereas if they never married their husband in the first place, they wouldn't be in that situation to be able to do that. So it's just stuff like that.
I agree. Sorry. I agree. Anybody have anything that they wanted to add on? Ariel holding your tongue. John B falling asleep.
First of all, you're the one yawning, trying to come.
Yo, I didn't have my coffee today. Stop,
Twice
chill.
you yawned.
Chill.
You yawned in the beginning
Yeah,
when you're like,
yeah.
so relationships.
Chill. I
Yo,
need coffee.
I do want to say one thing before we go though. Like I'm going back to Angelica's point. The outlet that you're gonna give that like your son is amazing because it's back to also what we talked about before. When men talk to men in serious situations, guys, like that will teach you one thing. If you are going to walk up to another man and speak to him in his face, somebody will swing. It is inevitable. This is why, like, I don't know, if I'm out with my friends one night, somebody says something rude to me, I have a choice. I can turn around and engage, talk back, and then we're gonna fight. Or I can just leave it be like, you know what? All right, bro, thank you. You're good. Have a good night. Like, men have like it's literally fight or flight, like at all times. We don't. If it's a man that you're not friends with, it's always fight or flight. There's no in the middle. I'm talking to a customer at work, bro. They'll say some wild things to me because they can, and I'll look at them and I'll be like, bro, in the street, you would be killed here. Like, you cannot disrespect somebody this much in like 2 minutes. Like, there's no way. And bro, I'll be looking at him like, yo, I'm not even the fighting type. I don't even care for fights. I think it's childish, but I would kill you. Like, but that's the thing. Like, teaching your kid boxing, karate. If it's a boy, he needs to know some kind of combat. Because realistically, everybody got a weapon nowadays. Which, by the way, is terrifying. The fact that like people go to a mall with a weapon. I'm not talking about anything recent. I'm saying like when I first started at my job, this homeboy pulled up into the store with a hunting knife at his side, and he started getting worked up, and he was drunk. And bro, like, and my manager was like, "Yo, why don't you just walk away?" I was like, "Cause my dad told me if somebody got a weapon, you don't walk. You don't. You have to face it there and then. It is what it is. What happens? Like, what are you gonna run in and hope something good happens out of it? Like, men have an inherent issue with like communication in public, just because there's no like, oh hey bro, I'm sorry I bumped into you. It's like, hey bro, you know how to say excuse me?
Yeah,
Like,
society is what it is.
excuse me? Where did do that at, man?
Thank you for sharing. It was a very vulnerable space, and I feel like we all gained more understanding of what that looks like on the sides of the spectrum. And my podcast is just one of the steps. There's a lot of podcasts out there that continue to have this conversation for longer hours and just more time. And I do want to leave it with the last question, which is, what do you think is needed to change in order to be more successful at relationships from both ends of the partnership? Because I feel as though it's getting to a point where a lot of conversations are not being had. And like I stated earlier, we keep dividing ourselves. And high consciousness is more about perspective. What can we do and what can we leave behind, right? In terms of a call to action to make a difference. So I want to leave you guys with that one and ask, what do you think needs to change? I know you most are in relationships, but even within that, like you're the prime example, you're the experience. So
I just want to say real quick, because my
God.
phone's gonna die, so I kind of wanted to make sure I didn't go super last minute, but yeah, I just think people need to be more open-minded, and just be more open to shit. Like the way I was raised, I wasn't raised in the best areas under the best circumstances, so I had to at one point all I knew was one way of doing things, or a particular
lens of viewing the world. I think that people just need to be more open-minded and understand that we have all been through some shit in our own way. And when you just kind of like go through life with that understanding that we've all been through something, and somebody each brings their own perspective, their own experience, their own expertise, their own trauma, their own whatever you wanna categorize it as, they bring something of value to the table. Or potentially, not everyone, but potentially, just due to the fact that somebody experienced something that maybe you didn't, or in a different way, there's value in trying to understand. So I just think that people need to be more open-minded. And if you're the type of person who's like, you know what, I don't date people who are this way or that way, and I don't mean anything toxic, obviously. I just mean, you just have certain like little nuances of preferences of things that you prefer, things that you personally want. It's okay to want those things, but I just think that people should look outside the box a little bit more, and I just can't tell you how many times, I've met someone, male or female, and I could just simply tell that they've never interacted with anyone black ever in their life, just from meeting them the first time. I'm saying? It's just because you can tell, and it's maybe not because they're not open-minded to it, or maybe they are, but they just don't know how to go about it. But when I have those interactions with people, I'm like, if you, and some people think I'm joking, if you are lacking black friends, if you're lacking something that maybe you want to be more experienced, more versed in, you should seek it, because how else are you gonna completely understand? So I just think that people have things to offer them. People have things to offer you in life. You just gotta kind of let them offer it to you. I'm not saying trust everybody and that whole thing. I'm just saying when it comes to relationships, if more people were just open-minded and understanding, I feel like relationships in general would be a lot healthier in that regard.
Word. I'm gonna have Angie go next because her computer's dying.
All right. Yeah, I got 2%. So I want to say actually communication. Communication is a really big key factor to being in a successful relationship, because without communication, you guys will just be a brick wall between each other. If you need to be vulnerable, allow your person to be vulnerable with you. You're supposed to be that's supposed to be your best friend and your partner. So put your best friend first before your partner, because to be successful, you got to build that friendship to be able to have a long-lasting relationship. And I think sometimes what we do is that we just forget those little moments about communication, because sometimes we could be so pissed off and we want to walk away. It's good to walk away, but take a second, breathe, and come back into that room and be like, hey, can I talk to you? This is how I feel. This is what's going on. And even if you say, hey, I think we should do therapy, if you're with this person 5 years, we're like, hey, I think we should do therapy, and I think that this might work. It's just have that communication with your partner, because sometimes we fail to even just do that. And sometimes being successful in any relationship, it is communication. You do it with your job. You do it, with strangers in the street, because, some stranger could piss you off and you're quick to tell them yo, back up,
Mm-hmm.
So just take that in the same thing in your relationship, and just don't feel like, you're alone, because there's a lot of people that are, may not be dealing with this particular the things that you are dealing with, but are dealing with several things, so just always remember, just communication is definitely key on both sides of the end. And my computer's about to die on you guys, so I just wanted to say that I love you guys. They've been hanged up. This is great. I love all you guys. But yeah, that's all I wanted to actually say about that question right there.
Thank you for coming and staying and adding and being open. And we're breaking the chains, so the vibes. Love you so much. All right, whoever wants to go next.
I just wanted to... Oh, sorry.
No, I have to say that real quick. You're all good.
I just wanted to say, I'm going to relate this to work, which is just to get it away from my personal relationship. At work, we had a meeting. We had to for our team was divided. We had to literally talk to each other prior to this meeting and be like, yo guys, what can we do to make this work? And it was a matter of, hey, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? Okay, guys, there are commonalities in this. Let's figure out that middle road that will satisfy everybody a little bit, just to make sure that everybody gets a piece of what they need. I feel like because that was at work is a lot easier to do in relationships, because again, like, there's options out there. Like, yo, oh, this person's not good, I'm a dip. The one thing that has to remain in somebody's mind is, hey, I'm here for the long haul. I have to, not that I have to, but like, I want to work through whatever we come towards, with barring like certain things like cheating, lying, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, like, there has to be a, hey, I'm in this conversation to fix this, not I'm in this conversation to get what I want. Because a lot of the time we blur the lines between what we want and what we need. And what a relationship needs is a lot different than what you want. Like, bro, I want to be wine and dined every day. I want to not lift up my wallet once. Is this realistic? No, it's not, but that's fine. Like, there's certain things, like, I don't know, like, let's say my girl's like, hey, can you come over after work? I know you finish at 10, but is that okay? I'll give her that. But then in return, I'll be like, hey, I get out at 6 tomorrow. Can I have that day to myself? And it's a matter of, like, communicating what you need, not just what you want. Because, yo, the amount of times people just chase something that, like, has no meaning. It's like, yo, you want to go to the club with your friends, and you know that your man is, like, at home sick. You have a choice. Go and live that movie night with your friends, or just take care of somebody who's going to take care of you when you're sick. Because your friends, yo, once you're sick and you can't go out, majority of them are going to be like, yeah, you can stay home, you're good. Or they wouldn't even text you about it. That's the main thing. It's just choice. Everybody has a choice. And so many people choose wrong, and that's the main issue you have, is you think communication is just talking to somebody else, but it's also with the choices you make. If I'm sick and you're not coming to take care of me, you're communicating to me that you don't care about that you care more about your Saturday night than you do about my well-being. Like, that's the main thing. Like, it's not just verbal, it's also,
I think that goes into
choices.
sacrificing. Yeah, no, understanding those choices that are gonna feel like sacrifices, essentially. Because it's not just about you anymore; it's about someone else too. Word, I agree to that.
I think I'll go. Mine's just quick and easy. When I thought about this question, I immediately thought honesty, but I know honesty is such a honesty, of course, why not? But, like, most importantly, being honest with yourself, I think, is really important. And being patient with others, because you have to understand that not a lot of people have that relationship experience or have not been in a relationship, while the other person may have come out of like a 3-4 year relationship and you've never been in a relationship. So you guys have two different mindsets of like, oh, I'm kind of already set. I know what I want. I've already experienced all this. I know how this is going to go. Whereas the other person is like, oh, is this the way it's supposed to go? And then come a couple of years happen, and then you're like, you're in two different things because there was not enough communication. There was not enough, this is what I want, this is what I need. There wasn't enough of that type of conversation. Instead, it was just enjoying your life to the fullest, living day by day where it should be, living with that significant other day by day, living with that significant other, listening to them, caring for them, seeing where you guys balance each other out. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Just honest with yourself and just being patient with others.
I can definitely agree to that. Having patience, definitely being honest with yourself. Communications definitely is key, but that communication is like the overall arching message, you know, because if you're honest with yourself, communication it's simple. I find it more challenging in my life to continue a lie when I could just be honest and I don't have to keep up with a lie and remember who I told what to and whatever. But if you're honest with yourself and this is who you are as a person, then everything you do will be genuine. Everything you say will be genuine, and there won't be. There's still going to be some type of miscommunication, of course, because just like Ariel said, you'll have somebody who possibility that they have more relationship experience. This actually tends to happen more for women. They blossom earlier and they get more attention earlier, so they tend to get into relationships sooner. But dudes, not so much. We fall in our early teens, late teens, early 20s. We still fall. It does take us a little bit, to get into the groove of what it is nowadays. But it's just having that patience. And what Hassan was saying earlier about, quitting early and not enduring, that plays a major role with the patience. Everything goes hand in hand. But to have a long-lasting and better relationship overall, definitely you need to just be patient with one another and talk to each other, explain to each other, like, this is how I feel, this is what happened, and I don't know why I feel this way, but after such and such went down, this is how I feel. Is this what you intended to happen? Give me your perspective. What did you see? And when you follow stuff like that, it tends to be a lot more cohesive,
John V.
I think being open in relationship is very important. I see sometimes women being very open in relationships, like with emotions, but when it comes to men, they are not able to be very much emotional about how they feel. So I think that is communication is important, being open, honesty for sure. I think respecting each other is also very important. If you're not able to respect someone in the relationship, if you are not able to respect what they want or what they think, then it might not work out. So respecting plays an important part.
Thank you. Respect definitely does play an important part. To tie it up, I'm gonna answer this question myself. What I think is needed to change in order to be more successful in relationships is also, as we were talking about earlier, being single, taking that time to really heal from trauma or talk about your trauma and open up and be more vulnerable about what you're going through and take care of yourself, whether that means working out, whether that means, I don't know, running a mile every day or doing some type of sport, doing something that's gonna always help you grow in a physical and mental way and challenge you. It first starts there, and then you can take on a challenge of a relationship, because a relationship is also a challenge in itself. And we're meant to have each other, and we're meant to go through this not alone, and the whole point is to eventually come to a place where it's like, all right, like we both understand that we're both human, that we've both been through our own thing, like Gav said, understanding, and also communicating. If that's not a skill that you own currently and you're single out there, or that is then and you're taken out there and your relationship's maybe not good, communicating and learning or being open to continuing to learn and want to grow in the partnership is what's going to get you successful. If you're not receptive to feedback, and if you're not receptive to being able to be told about yourself, or be able to say, like, yeah, I get that you were single, this, that, and the third, but now things are different, right? Just like when you get married, nothing really changes. It's just even more of it's more solidified, if that's something that you even want, right? And I use marriage as an example because that's how I see it. But even down to that, even if you don't want that, there's still steps, right? So I just ask for you to take your time, deal with your demons and your trauma and whatever you got going on first. And if you want to, and if you don't, hey, listen, that's cool too. Like, you choose whatever. Your choices are a reflection of what you want. So if that's what you want, you'll do what you got to do. You'll do what's right. But in order to have a successful relationship, it really starts with that, and also just being open to other people. I feel like even myself, I had really high standards, and I had to like really be open to understanding that everybody comes with baggage, right? No matter what, like we just all come with baggage, and we have to be open to that. So, and for the men, I really want to say, like, just continue to show up for yourself as well. And mental health is a thing, and it's serious. And as women, we also need to support that more, other than just bashing and expecting and not looking into that, like not wanting to hear our men's side. So T, anything else? Anybody else?
I mean, we can go. You can go for hours. You keep talking about different things like mental health and.
I know. Let's not. I was about to say, literally, that's like a whole thing in itself.
I mean, that's part of communication too, because like I said before, growing up, I didn't really think I had a problem, but if something bothered me or, I didn't even want to be in the situation, I would shut down. But that would translate to friendships. I lost friends, relationships, even some of my family members, purely based off like just shutting down. Or maybe I felt like perhaps I communicated effectively towards them, but the response wasn't something that, I like or I expected, and then if you don't know how to handle that, well, I'm not going to keep wasting my time. But it doesn't pay off in the long run. But yeah, we can keep talking about that. Listen, I just want to say, guys, each and every one of the panelists that came on today, I want to thank you guys sharing your opinions, your perspectives, your thoughts. The ones that aren't here anymore, thank you for coming up here. To the viewers that are going to watch this, like, comment, subscribe.
Follow us. Thank you to our guests that remain. If y'all want to say y'all goodbyes, this is your moment.
Okay.
But thank
I'll
you.
allow it.
I appreciate you guys for getting me on here again. It's always a good conversation. Always.
Yeah, man. It always is. And if you guys have any thoughts or any ideas, please share them. We are open to continuing to create a community where we can just come on here and just vent, and just chat. And it can literally be about anything. Like, as long as it's going to provide us with a wider perspective to life. That's all that is about. And breaking chains, breaking generational curses and breaking chains is really what high consciousness is about. So, I know y'all watch this later, but when I post this, y'all better repost this to your friends, to your friends' friends, to your cousins, to your brothers, your sisters, whoever, to watch, because it's a conversation that everybody needs to be aware of, and you're just creating more of an awareness. So I just ask for that call to action, and thank you for coming to High Consciousness Podcast.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
you.
me.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
Here.
Thank you. We'll have
Enjoy
another
the rest
episode.
of your evening. Yeah,
Enjoy
we'll
your
definitely
weekend.
come back. We'll definitely come back with these polls.
I got
Stay
you.
tuned.
Pleasure. Okay, do not end it. Awesome.
I learned.
Oh my God. Good.
Follow, like, subscribe. YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon Music, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We are live. We're still live. No YouTube comments, but it's okay. Now I know that it works.
We had a couple viewers come in and out.
Yeah, I saw people come in. I didn't really see who like stood or anything like that, but
No, I didn't even look. But
I saw like
W.
one person. I don't know who it was, but I
It
know
was-
there was like
there was one person, but it was like every once in a while it would be one person.
one
and-
person. Yeah,
That's how it starts.
it's
Over
dope
you.
that we can go live now, though. All right, and in the broadcast.
You can end it now.
I hope that it like saves it.
As soon as we end it, but you can let them know. Hey guys, look. For all you nerdy conspiracy theorists out there, look, man, we're gonna try to go to Rumble.
Yes,
allows
yes,
us-
yes.
Rumble's gonna allow us to speak more freely.
More freely.
You can't do that on the censorship of YouTube and Facebook, and like it is what it is. We got to say certain things and avoid certain words, but we're gonna make that transfer over to Rumble. We haven't had a exact date yet, but know it's coming soon because I'm itching, baby. Like, come
Me
on,
too.
man.
Me too. I'm itching to have conversations, like the real ones we're trying to have. And to be honest, like it's really what high consciousness is mainly about. That's why I stated it in the beginning of this episode. And this will be dropping midway through the episode. Like the episodes are gonna drop first, and then I'm dropping this because this is more of an informative piece for the listeners that want to continue to listen to us and hear what we have to say. And that's going to be more of a free platform for us to be able to get on there and just speak and be able to show different things, just be able to be more open and not be so censored. And you know, prevent getting canceled or whatever that is called in society nowadays.
You already know.
That's all, baby. So catch us on there. I'll be posting up more information on it. So just, you know, stay tuned with our Instagram page that, you know, keeps everything intact.
Till next time.
Hey, the seeds. See you later.